Welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm your host, Preston M. Smith. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm Preston M. Smith, at PMS Artwork everywhere on internet land and socials. I want to thank you for landing on this podcast. Whether you're a professional artist, just getting started in the art world, a collector of art, or just consider yourself a creative person, this podcast has something for you. I like to think of it as a fun way to rant and talk to other creative people about living the life of an artist, surviving and getting ahead in the art world, and enjoying your life. But most importantly, not waiting until you're dead to make it happen. All right, let's get started. All right, we are officially recording. So as I was saying, thanks for doing this early. We were scheduled for about an hour and a half from now, but how's your morning going so far?
Oh, it was interesting. My son just went to school for the first time this week.
Right.
So that's been great. And then today we had to get COVID tested and he was like not into it, So it was a tricky morning, but he got over it. It was really quick. And and then came home. So
awesome. Well, I've got so many questions already. So what do they do for the COVID testing with him?
This one, they were doing like a little cheek swab.
Okay.
But we had gone to another one back in December, and they did it up his nose, like an adult.
That's what I was wondering, because that's got to be really uncomfortable for kids.
Yeah, so I'm glad that they changed it, and it's like a little more suitable. That was just so weird.
Not that it's fun for adults either. We're like, we love having our brains poked.
Oh yeah, exactly. I know, but like last year, sometime when we would have to go get tested or whatever, I remember them just keep switching it up. One time I had to spit in a cup, and then they were at to swab my nose, and then it was something else. And I'm like, okay, you guys, we'll figure it out eventually.
They're like, we don't even know what we're doing.
I know. I'm like, I hope this works. I don't know.
Yeah, right. And then, it's got to be cool to have him back in school. I know I've heard from a lot of parents that they're just like, get them out of my home. So maybe, I don't know if you feel that way, but...
I think more for me, it was a lot of it was time, but he's so young, like he just turned 4. So it's preschool.
Oh, wow.
Like I don't have to do his math, like I don't have, like he's already learning. I'm teaching him math and stuff like at home. Mm-hmm. So it's, I don't have to do algebra or anything, or anything with him.
Right.
He doesn't have to worry about homework. I feel like we have it much easier, mm-hmm. but it's still just like, time consuming of like, oh, now I have 4 or 6 hours that I didn't have before every single day. So that is like insane to me. Now I'm just like, oh, what did I want to do? Oh, I'm going to go paint this mural, go do this thing. Like, okay.
Open up the floodgates of creativity.
Yeah. Yeah. So now I just feel like the possibilities are opening, but I felt like, you just have to do that little bit of struggle, and then, but it's fine. And then when the time is right, it'll just work itself out. I feel like.
Yeah.
So now this is the time. So now it's at a perfect time. So,
sure. Well, and it's a good attitude to have. I mean, I think some people, when they push back so hard, you're just putting up resistance that doesn't need to be there. It sounds like you kind of rolled with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that was our whole, I was anticipating mentally, I was prepared for this whole year to be not do nothing for this whole other year, because I didn't really have a lot of optimism in like our system and
right.
in like anything. So,
I didn't believe in our system.
Yeah, I did.
Politics.
I didn't really believe it was gonna go that way. I thought it was gonna go, how the 4th wave, 5th wave, whatever.
Yes.
So I was mentally prepared for the end of this year again. So so now I'm like, oh, what do I do? What am I doing now?
I know it's weird because it's like you keep hearing, oh, it's kind of getting over with now. Like I keep seeing all these headlines, LA's set to party again. I'm like, are we sending out the right message here?
Please don't.
Yeah,
That's why
please
I'm
do.
like, I still just like cautiously optimistic, I think is the best.
Yes.
Best way. But
Yes.
I'm not going out, doing anything stupid.
No.
So,
Yeah. And, keep wearing the mask. So have you been vaccinated?
yes, we got our second
Nice.
last week. So yeah, so that's been really good and feel, you feel better just like walking around, still wear my mask and everything, but yeah,
Yeah.
feeling pretty good. And we didn't have any bad side effects. So
Good.
lucky
No
on that.
tiredness even or anything?
The first one I got tired, but I like we got our shot. I went grocery shopping. I came home. I was like not even really thinking about like side effects because we only heard like the second one. So
Yes.
the first one I did fall like I fell asleep after that for like an hour and a half or something. Maybe I should have just chilled, like don't go run errands maybe after you get your shot.
Right, exactly. My wife got her, well, I'm waiting to get my second one, but she works at UCLA Medical. So she got her 2 shots in January. She was one of the cool ones. And she was fine, but when she got her second one, I remember her coming home from work and we were just sitting there. She was on the bed looking at her phone. And then all of a sudden I just hear her phone like drop on her head. And she's like, and she was just out. So I was like, okay. So the second one might bring some tiredness.
Right.
But other than that, she was fine too. Did you get Pfizer or I feel like we're just talking about COVID. It's like, welcome back to COVID
I know. Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah. This is just like catch up on life.
Yeah, exactly.
For a few minutes and now like art stuff.
But this is where it's at. So, well, I'll make it a little more artsy. How has it affected, how has the I call it the virus, which will not be named. How has that affected your art process and creating art? I know you've talked about that a little bit, but have you been able to create much?
Well, if we take it back to last year, I was very fortunate because this time it actually came up because people started sharing like the 1 year, photos or whatever.
Right.
And it was last year, just around this time, it was in May, end of April, May. And we did this project, this community project. Jeremy Novi and a couple other street artists got together with Art Share LA, and we were beautifying the city. So we went around and did a bunch of murals during COVID. This was like main COVID, not beginning because it kind of began in March or something, but
this is OG.
But yeah,
COVID.
a couple months. Yeah, this is OG COVID, like last year, 2020. Yeah, so I think that really sparked something where it was really motivational and like we saw it. Yes, we were being safe because we were all being like distance, like painting at a distance.
Mm-hmm.
But we kind of used this time to kind of explore and expand and like beautify because we had the potential with all the boarded up buildings, unfortunately.
Right.
The businesses were boarded up, but that gave artists blank canvases to go and kind of paint the city. So,
well, and talk about turning something negative into something positive.
Yeah, I felt really good about that. I was very fortunate that he asked me to be a part of it. And it was like 10 of us or something. It was like 8 of us or something. And we were kind of doing them like every month. Like we were doing, I think I did like 6 or 7 murals during that time, like that span of like, it was kind of a rushed thing where we would get a business, we would get kind of permission or we would kind of have like pseudo permission to go. We're like, well, they're not there.
If you're not there, that's permission.
Yeah, exactly. So we kind of have permission, but some of it yes, some of it no. Like Wasteland and I remember West downtown LA, they allowed us to do like their whole block, which was really cool. So
that's awesome.
It was like mini gallery, we kind of created like these street art mini galleries outside, like outdoor gallery spaces. So that was a lot of fun. And then I think that just kind of trickled over into like this year where now I just want to do, I'm just doing more of that. And so, yeah, just trying to like take something negative into a positive, because if I'm doing a mural, I can kind of just, paint paint either by myself. Sometimes I have a friend like helping or whatever, but yeah, it doesn't feel like we're being unsafe or anything. I feel like we're doing something, positive for the community. I had a lot of people come up and say, that they really appreciated the work, and it's bringing something bright and like a little bit vibrant to what's going on.
Yeah, I think people needed that so much this year. So that's awesome. It was funny how the arts kind of had a resurgence, it felt like, during COVID. I think because everybody was at home, everybody was depressed, everybody wanted to see things that were inspirational, whether that was in their home or like out on the streets like you're talking about.
Yeah.
It must have been easier to do murals because there was probably not as much foot traffic too, right?
Oh yeah. It was like nobody was out. I mean, some people were out, like they would walk their dogs but it wasn't anything like, and now it's busier. Things are kind of back to normal, and I'll still go out, and do some murals and stuff. But yeah, I feel like it is like a little bit harder now, but it's still like the way to go for me. Like it's just like it gets it out there, and I feel like it is bringing that art and the like. I think we realized how essential art is and how uplifting it is, whether it's in your home. Like I saw a lot of that. I saw like a lot of people interested in work last year and this year. Yes. And hopefully that, hopefully people are realizing how, and I had a big realization because when everything shut down, Jeremy, who put the thing together, I was like, I don't think we were supposed to be out or whatever. I was like, it's kind of like essential workers. And I remember him telling me art is essential. And I just thought, you're right.
Yes.
You're so right. So like, why was I not thinking about it in those terms, like of how important it is and what it gives, what it gives to people. So I always keep that.
Yeah. Well, sorry, I was going to say not only to the viewer, but also to the artist. Like, talk about being able to express what's going on inside you, inside the community, what's going on with the world right now. If I hadn't had that outlet, that's why I hurt my back recently and I'm getting better. But that plus the pandemic was just like, it was so depressing because all of a sudden it took away my, my ability to get that out of my body. So I think that's also, it's functioning for the artist as well as the viewer. So that's really cool. Well, I wanted to ask you, so I think I met you through Shockbox and you're friends with Kim Swank, right?
Yes. I was like taking it back. I'm like, wait, where, how, tracking it back. Yes. All from Kim, I think.
Yes. So did she introduce you to Shockbox?
I don't think so. I don't think it was like that. I think it was like, I knew about Shockbox and then I found out that she knew about Shockbox and then I was asking her about it.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like, hey, what's your experience? What's this about? Because it's so far from me. I know. Like, it feels like it's far from everybody. Yeah, it took me a while to just be like, okay, this is a great group of people. Like, I think I was just kind of asking her, like testing it out. And she was just like, had all good things to say. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think one artist there has had anything negative to say. I know I saw you in a bunch of the shows, like a couple of your neon pieces really stand out to me. The ones with the neon glasses.
Oh, yeah.
And then the neon, I think it was like a smiley face on the...
Oh, yeah. It was like the Nirvana smiley face.
Yes, the Nirvana one.
Yeah.
Those are awesome. I love those pieces.
That's what I'm hoping to work on. I'm very fortunate right now to have too much work, commissions and like this school mural project I'm going to be working on next week. But I have this.
That's the one you put on your Instagram, right?
Yeah. I have a piece ready to be adding neon to. So I'm trying to mix now. I want to mix abstracts with neon. So that's going to be my next, exploration, because I think I just try and listen to, what's interesting to me or what's exciting. And I found, I'm like getting more into abstract stuff and then, I really love the neon. And then I just wanted to use the neon to kind of highlight certain issues or certain, elements, certain subject matter or whatever. So I'm trying to play around with that idea.
That's so cool. I love that you're experimenting. I see you, like I used to do a lot of iconic kind of pop surrealism too. I see a lot of I really relate to your work. I even had like a strong feminine series that I did of like 9 or 10 women, including my wife. And I see some kind of like similarities in our themes in our work. And I love that. And I love that your bold, bright, vibrant colors. And I can see a transition where you could easily get into abstract. So that's cool. How do you do the neon? Is that something that you do yourself, or do you have like another neon artist you collaborate with?
Well, I use a shop downtown that I really love because I kind of, came to him with I went to a couple other people and I went to him as someone recommended. And as soon as I gave him like, oh, this is what I want to do, he got it like immediately. And he was just like, oh yeah, we can do that. And like, I thought it was like
Nice.
weird. Like I'm bringing this almost 3/4 of the way done painting to someone to then add the neon on. And like, I needed to make sure that it was going to be like safe and, it
wasn't going to burn down the gallery or wherever.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, like bringing you this work, I need to know that it's, cool. So yeah, I met him, and then he actually employs a woman that has been doing the glass blowing for like decades. So she's super professional and like super talented. And yeah, it just made me feel good to be able to find somebody that understood what I was going for, because I felt like it was a little hard to explain. Like,
yeah,
I'm not making neon art. I'm kind of just adding like the element of neon to, these works. So
yeah, it's almost like an accent.
Yeah. I was gonna say embellish, but it's like not embellish. Yeah, it's an accent.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, like the pieces are also, you can see they function well by themselves, but then you have this little accent that really brings them to life. I'm curious, just do you pay them for their work ahead of time, or is it something where you could actually, I sell a piece and then, split some of the proceeds or whatever?
Oh no, it's just I use them as a vendor basically, so that I pay them right out, and so they can, continue their work. Yeah.
Right. Okay, that's cool. Because I was thinking
for me it'd be complicated otherwise. Yeah.
It would be. Yeah, it would be weird like later on splitting, the commission or something.
Oh, I already have to like deal with that I don't know if you do that, but just with like all these galleries, and then I have places that I want to donate money to, and so like having to wrangle all that is already like
keeping it simple is always best.
Track, of everything.
Oh yeah, and then if you have your work, I know you're on Saatchi and a couple of places. Like I'm all over the place with. I sell a lot of stuff online, a lot of work online, and it's one of those things where you have to really be on top of updating your catalog too. Like if you sell a piece.
I was listening to what you were saying and how you like updated almost like daily or like with news. I just can't even like, I don't do like a lot of sales online. I want to get better at that. But yeah, just those online platforms, it's so hard for me to like keep everything updated.
It's hard. Yeah. Cause like sometimes so I put together some like diptychs and triptychs of different pieces that kind of exist on their own first. And if you sell one, you got to be like, oh, now I got to mark 4 pieces as sold on like 7 different platforms. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's kind of a pain in the ass, but that's cool. I'm interested in talking to you because I'm interested in like the business of art too. And I know you kind of seem like, maybe you wouldn't categorize yourself this way, but a little bit of like a hustler. Like you're doing a lot of different stuff. You're doing murals. You're doing collage. You're doing prints. You're doing NFTs, which we'll get into later. But first of all, where do you work? Where are you located? Are you located downtown?
No, I'm in Studio City.
Oh, you're in Studio City. Oh, cool. Mm-hmm. We're in the Valley. We're up in Tarzana.
You are?
Yeah, I moved up here about 2 years ago.
Oh my God, I had no idea.
Yeah.
I thought you were West Side, yeah.
Yeah, I used to be West Side. I have to come do a studio visit sometime.
Oh my gosh, please, yes.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
my studio now, I have a shared studio space, which I'm so fortunate. That also happened the end of last year. So like, all these new awesome things kind of happened like randomly, like towards the end of the year, beginning of the year. And so that is in WeHo, and I share it with some lovely, lovely artists. And yeah, we might all be, we might be moving in, I think June or something, but I think I'm still staying in West Hollywood, so which is good.
Okay.
So
yeah, moving the studio
but I
is
work
always
out of
tough.
I used to just work out of my house, and then luckily, had this opportunity, and so I took it.
That's cool. I've always worked alone too, and like in my studio. I mean, in school, I did some stuff where I stuck around, I had a studio there, and I worked around people. But you like working with other artists? Do you feel like that helps you stay inspired, or can you do it either way?
I can do it either way.
Yeah.
This was a test, another thing, I just feel like it's like, again, just experiment, try things out. If they don't work, you're not, married to it or whatever, it's fine. So this was another, like, because I always work by myself, or I would just be at home and then I'd do something and I have my husband like put his eyeballs on it, and be like, just having like another set of eyes is good. So I'd be like, hey, check this out, So sometimes I do that, but really I was just always kind of just working by myself.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I kind of wanted to see, what it's like. And I think all our hours are so different that maybe most of the time I am just working by myself, and then people will be there if I go at night or whatever. Some people will be there. We kind of work together and just kind of talk. And that was really fun. It felt like
that's
a really
cool.
nice, yeah.
Because really that's hard nice as an artist to get a community, that you really dig.
Oh yeah. I think that's the best thing that's coming out of, I think the mindset of people wanting that community now more so than I think before. I think people are really realizing how valuable it is.
I agree. And how many other artists are there in the studio that you share?
I would say 4. Yeah, 4.
4. Okay. So 4
plus me, yeah.
So 5 total.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. That's cool. Well, we've gone off topic just because it's been interesting to talk to you, but I wanted to go into your origin story. I always have people talk about their origin story, how you got into art. Start as early as you want, take as long as you want, or as short. It can be 5 seconds if you want. How did you start out?
Oh, well, I would say I really started when I moved to Los Angeles. I came from New Jersey, and my dad's very creative. He's a creative person. My grandma, she was a really great painter. My dad's a painter, sculptor.
Oh, wow.
Potter. He was into everything, pottery, woodworking, but no one did it like no one did it as a career, like a career choice,
Right.
So it was always just like, it was around, and, luckily I remember going to a couple, like the Philadelphia Museum, maybe once or so, like when I was little, but I would always draw. It was always like an escape for me, like drawing or doing something. I wasn't very good at it, but I would do stuff that was like creative. Sewing was a big thing, and, all sorts of just trying different things. But when I moved out, I moved to Georgia, and then I moved to California here. And then I remember going to this crazy show. I found out later that it was do you know Cannibal Flower?
That sounds familiar. I'm not sure though.
So LC from Think Space Gallery, he's a gallerist, and he's co-owner of Think Space, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So LC, he used to do it. He's still doing it, but I mean, COVID and stuff. But like back then, like 10 years ago, whatever, it was like big. He would throw like these really cool parties and all this stuff, and it would all be like art centric. So he would like mentor these artists and then put a show on, basically.
Oh, that's cool.
So that you would have the experience of having your art up on a wall, have people see it, view it, display it, how it's displayed, all that stuff. And it was really, that really changed my understanding and just my path, I think, because.
Were those kind of like chocolate and art, pancakes and booze, those types of things? Or
it was before, yes. It was like, I would say it was the original idea for those.
Yeah.
But he would do something. I think his was more community centric. So I found out about him because he did portfolio reviews. So I went in.
Oh, nice.
And I showed my, at that time I was doing something totally different. And I was doing this like faceless series that I would paint. And I showed him, but then I showed him like a portfolio or whatever. And then he saw the collage stuff. He's like, why aren't you doing this? I'm like, I don't know. I was just playing around. And he was like, do this, think about this, come back, bring me a piece and we'll talk about it. So then that's what I did. I continued, I brought some stuff, brought some work back, and he goes, oh, you nailed it. Like, this is, try to explore this. And we just kind of mentored me a little bit,
That's awesome.
in the beginning. And yeah, just kind of went from there. So, and then he did the shows and stuff like that. So I think the difference between him and those other shows, because I did Pancakes and Booze. Mm-hmm. It wasn't for me. It was fine.
Yeah, it wasn't for me either.
Yeah, it's not for me. But the difference, I think, between what he was doing is that he would mentor the people that they ended up showing, and he wasn't there to be taking money like, oh, you have to, charging per hanging each piece or what. It wasn't about that. It was literally like, we're doing this thing. We're going to put up your art. So it's being shown. So it was like purposeful, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I really appreciated that. I really that really helped me.
I like that it's community based too.
Yeah, that's what I said. I felt like it was all just, he got to DJ what he loves doing. And it was just like bringing the art community together. So it was really nice. So yeah, that's kind of where I started. And then I just kind of, expanded and explored all after that, and I'll always go back to him for advice on stuff and have him, check out my work or whatever. And then another street artist in LA, his name's Teacher, and he kind of taught me the stencil technique. So then I was making paper stencils before that. And then he taught me like a reusable stencil technique. So then I can, you can reuse the stencil more than once. So
yeah, I was watching a little bit of your YouTube, kind of like a tutorial. It was like a crash course in making stencils. I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then I always try and be like, this is not traditional stencils. Like this isn't the first thing you should do. Like, oh, I want to make a stencil. This is not, typically how you do it, but this is how I do it. So that was really great. So I just think like being in the art community, like immersing ourselves in the art community. GABA Gallery gave me my first like solo show.
Nice.
And so that's been the path basically.
I know a lot of artists who show with GABA Gallery, and they've always been on my radar, but for some reason I just haven't gotten in there. But I want to check them out more because I always hear such good things about them.
Donna Bates, if you don't know her, you need to.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I love her so much.
It's funny how you can be in LA and like, cause I've been doing this down here for probably about 18 years. And it's funny how you can be like in the same arts community, but have like different pockets that you find, you know what I mean? Isn't that weird?
It drives me crazy because I want to meet, so many more people. And then I'm like, wait, who's this group? Yeah. Like, I don't know these people.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially on the west side, it's hard, but like, if there's events, like I look up and I'm like, man, who are all these people? I need to get to know them. Like,
yeah, it's crazy. I know. When I first started out, it felt like maybe it was just my experience because I know people who talked about going to downtown first, how there's like a really vibrant downtown scene and community, kind of like Kim was talking about that with me. And when I first came down here, I felt very isolated. I don't know if it was just my
thought.
mind. Yeah. It was LA. Just everything felt so spread out, disconnected. I had my little pockets of friends and galleries and stuff, and I was just showing everywhere. But I felt like I'd have to travel so far each time I showed my work, and it was like I never really established any roots. So it's cool to hear that I have now, but it's cool to hear that you found like a community and then even like a mentor, because that's so important. I had a mentor in college and I worked with him after college, but finding a mentor I think is so important as an artist. Yeah,
I'll tell everybody that. They ask me, that's like the first thing that I tell them.
Yeah.
Like, oh, how did you do? I wouldn't have been doing what I'm doing. I don't think otherwise is I didn't have anyone. I didn't even understand what I wanted to do, myself. And just having a mentor really kind of just helped me like bring that out. And like having someone actually believe that you can do something is a big deal. So mentor or just, supporter or something is helpful to really get people to like take the next step.
Yeah, I think it's like we all crave a little bit of validation as artists because it's such a hard career path, It's like everybody tells you, oh, you can't make any money as an artist. It's so hard. And then, but when you get some validation from an outside source, it's like not your family, or your best friend or something. Oh, this is a person who I don't know, who kind of knows something about the art world. And they're telling me my work's good. That gives you kind of the moxie to kind of keep going, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Some people are just born with it. They have it, but I really didn't. I had so many doubts and so much so many things to overcome. I felt like so.
Sorry, my doorbell's ringing. This is not a professional podcast. Alexis is going off, and the doorbell. But anyway, that's fine. I like to leave all this stuff in.
Oh yeah, this is life.
This is life. That's right, especially nowadays.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Thanks for sharing that. That's awesome. How did you get? So I think you said you got involved with more murals through ArtSpace.
Well, I started. I did one. My first mural was with GABA.
Okay.
GABA Gallery in their alleyway project, which that I remember going and doing that one. I think my son was like 8 months old or something. I left my son. I had my friend watch my like baby, and my husband and I went and banged out this mural for this wall. It was like, I don't know if it was 10 feet, 20 feet. I don't remember what it was, but it was like by 3. It was really like a small, like a weird size, but we did this ballerina paper doll thing, and it was pretty cool. But yeah, I just remember like going, and I couldn't even enjoy it too much. I just kind of like painted it real fast because I needed to get back to my son because I had like never left him with anybody before.
Right.
So ridiculous. But yeah, he gave me the first mural, like, yes, you can do this. Like, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. And then that kind of just opened everything up. Yeah, I can do this. Like I can totally do this.
Yeah. Because it's daunting at first, right? Like, oh my God, a mural.
Yeah, it's so strange. Like, and I also had just didn't understand, how to kind of implement my style in a mural form because I was using like recycled magazines as the base, and then I would use stencils, and then I would paint, So it wasn't what other people were doing. And I felt like if I got rid of the magazine, aspect of it or whatever, it was kind of just like what everybody else was doing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, like it wouldn't have your kind of footprint.
Yeah. And he was like, don't worry about that. It's going to be yours anyway. And I was all right. So I think it's just about, like letting go of any excuses that you're giving yourself and just do it. And then like do another one. And then
pushing yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit too. Right.
Yeah. And you'll just learn each time you'll learn something. Like I learned from that one, like I really got to figure out my background. Like, like I definitely figured that out, whatever, but it's just learning experiences of doing something and then just doing more of that, just getting better at it.
Yeah. And I think also, I know when I did my first mural, I was like, oh man, this is like for public consumption. I did it actually in an office. It was like 2 office spaces for Tap Out, the Tap Out company.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I did a couple for their office spaces. And I was like, oh, man, it kind of forces you to step up your game a little bit because you're like, oh, these are going for everybody at this cool company to see every day. So I got to be legit here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was interested. Do you do stencils at all on your murals too? Or are they too?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. So that was a whole other thing of like, okay, well, if I'm going to get bigger, then how do I do that? And that turned into doing stencils cut in like segments. So I would do like an 8-foot stencil, like this Frida piece that I did, and it was in 3 parts. So it would be like, it could have been I could have just projected it or whatever.
Right.
But my understanding of my, what I was doing at the time was, I made like this 8-foot stencil and just cut it into parts.
Oh, that's cool.
So then I would just do that for like started getting, just doing much bigger and bigger pieces and stuff like that. That's how I would do it.
So for any artists listening who want to get into the mural game, do you have any recommendations?
A hard one. I think figure out who else in your area might be doing them and ask their history or opinion, or like, how did you do this maybe in your area? Because I feel like it's different everywhere.
It is
like LA, here I feel like, I don't know, you see a lot. You can just tag, like DM that person and say, hey, how'd you go about this? I have a bunch of people doing that. Like people message me all the time. So
yes.
And then
that's something we didn't have available to us back in the day, right?
Yeah,
just
exactly.
DM any artist you wanted.
Yeah. Before you just had to like figure out where they're painting and just show up.
Yeah, go stalk them.
Yeah, you basically just stalk people. So, pretty much just the same mentality. Just stalk some artists and then, figure out, or you can contact businesses, or you can contact nonprofits. So that's kind of how I would go about it.
For sure. And you've also done some of those electrical boxes, right, for the cities?
Yes.
Yeah, so I've done a few of those too.
Oh, good. Yeah, they're so fun. And Burbank right now has an open call for that.
Oh, nice. Okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah. So they have one, and those have been really cool experiences. Just the amount of people that have seen those, maybe even more so than like the murals. But I really enjoy doing those because I'm able to kind of put a message out there in the community, and I feel like those are very purposeful. I'm putting artwork out there that I feel like has a purpose of being there and being seen and stuff. So
sure, and also can be specific to different areas, like maybe some sort of message catered towards an area of town. Like whether you're in the West Hollywood or you're in the South Bay or whatever, the Valley, your message might be a little different. But I wanted to talk to you about message because I know that's really important to you and your work. And I just wanted to read first of all, I'm a fellow Art Storefronts artist. So I don't know if you knew that.
You are?
Yeah. When I came on your site, I knew right away. I was like, oh, Art Storefronts. Oh, nice. How's your experience been with them?
Maybe I can pick your brain, at some point with this, because I'm so focused on like my limited edition prints and things like that. I don't even know if people know that I am, selling other prints and, like what they offer, like the prints on metal, the prints on everything.
Yeah. Are you with Bay Photo?
Yes.
Yeah. That's my fulfillment.
So they're up, because they're on the west side. Yeah. So that's been just like, again, the very end of last year I started that.
Oh, okay. So recently.
I did a whole so most of it was just getting a new website, getting all that kind of straightened out. And then I just now, like recently, like 2 weeks ago, hired a virtual assistant to help me mostly with that stuff, mostly with like the Art Storefront back end marketing stuff. So I'm excited for all of that.
Yeah, it's smart. They have a lot of, first of all, they're really good at teaching artists like a blueprint of how to kind of market your work. They've got great print services and kind of unlimited potential with the site. It's difficult. Like there's a learning curve. Like when I started, I had like 900 paintings to upload. So it took me about, I think it was like 4 months straight of just working on my website to get all my stuff up. And I'm sure you probably had a similar experience.
That's what I felt. I felt like just recently, I'm like, I just started doing, I hired my friend to do like SEO copy. It's still not done. It's still, I have to add a couple pages, what you're saying with like the message and stuff. And I'm like, I need to add like a page to kind of like explain that and, get into it a little bit more. And it's still in the process.
It's always in a process.
I feel like it's always going to be,
It's always evolving and the technology is changing. But the one thing I wanted to say to you was, I couldn't tell that you weren't happy with right now, because I think it looks great. I
Oh
love
yeah.
your commission part. I thought that was awesome. You have like a book a commission
Yeah.
page, and you can like fill out an actual form, and there's a price sheet. I thought that was awesome. I might steal that from you. If you don't
from
mind.
them. It's from them.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow. I haven't been paying attention, I guess.
Yeah. They have like a whole page. That form is there for.
Oh my God. I didn't even notice that. Is that new?
Yeah, I don't know. I just knew that it was important to me because people kept asking me, or
Yes.
it like, luckily, I was like I was trying to actually like manifest that and like put it out in the universe. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do more commissions and things like that. So I was like, oh, I really need to make that a page and clarify, because once I understood the process of my commission process, I needed to just get it out there so I didn't have to keep repeating it. And then having the price guide, honestly, like, I don't know how many people feel about, having prices out there like that. I don't know, but I find it helpful.
I think it's great.
Because someone can just look at it and go, oh, yes or no. Like,
yeah,
you can do this, or you can't do, or you need to wait, maybe save up and wait, or do whatever you need to do within your budget or whatever.
I think it's extremely important. And I think a lot of artists don't think about it this way, but you have to kind of think about what it's like for somebody who's not an artist, who's trying to collect, what their process would be like. Like if I didn't know anything about the art world or anything about buying a painting, I would probably be intimidated, to come and go like, how do I approach this artist about commissioning them? And here you go. Oh, it's broken down right here for me. So yeah, I think that's amazing. I think that's great. I'm going to steal that. And I guess I'm not actually stealing it, but I'm going to start implementing.
You're just using you're using the same resource.
Yeah.
Like, and that was part of like, that just happened like a couple months ago. So I'm just like still working on adding all these things. And I still have to go into the pages and I think do the detail part.
Oh, it's so much.
You get the point. You get it. It's already, here for now.
No, but it looks great. And then you got the merch, you got like the puzzles, t-shirts, stickers, beanie hats, gift cards. That's awesome. And then obviously your originals
section. Yeah. I love it because I just feel like before it was so clunky and so just I just didn't look at it. It wasn't appeasing, It's like my old websites over the years. I've tried everything. I had Shopify before this, but
oh, you did?
I just felt like the themes, like and how I wanted it. Art Storefront did exactly what I wanted it to look like, and I was trying to have someone build it in Shopify to do what they're doing, and it was so convoluted. So
yeah, and I like how they're constantly kind of evolving and trying to stay up with the times. The one thing I gotten on them about, and they kind of brushed me off for some reason, or not brushed me off, but it was like, this is not something that we're doing. I was trying to get them to link up with Instagram, because I think that's important. You know how you could like purchase, or you can have a little clickable shop on Instagram.
That would be nice. Yeah.
That would be nice if they could do that. So I'm going to follow up with them about that. But they were just like, oh yeah, we're not really working on that. So
yeah, it's some other like notes for them too. So, like,
well, and normally they do listen, but
yeah.
I think you need enough people to kind of get on them about a certain subject, and then they'll take it seriously. But I like for you too. Yeah, with your prints, like I love that they have the whole augmented reality thing too. So you can kind of see it in your place, what size it would be. I'm trying to get them to do that with originals too, because I think that's important. But anyway, just wanted to say I love your site. But the reason why I came over to your site was because I wanted to read your blurb at the beginning, just so people who are not aware of your work know who you are. It just says contemporary artist Amy Smith creates a bold mixture of figurative paintings, including her iconic women portraiture series, limited edition prints, illustrations, digital collages, abstract paintings, digital cityscapes, and inspirational merchandise. Using different techniques, her work celebrates unity and empowerment, feminism, social and environmental justice, and messages that inspire love and hope. That's great. Do you still feel that that kind of encapsulates what you're doing?
Yes, because that was just written like last month.
Okay. I hope so then.
So that's definitely like, I don't even know if anything was there before. I don't remember, but that really took a minute. Like I sat down with somebody and talked about everything I do, because, and I'm still trying to figure this out, is that I have all these different styles that I've done over the years that I still enjoy doing. I just like the gallery stuff is mostly like the portrait work at the moment, right? But but I don't want to neglect the other stuff. So it sounds like there's a lot, like the illustration, the digital cityscapes that I have on there. They're fun for me to do. When I would travel around, I would go and I would take my travel photos and come home and mess with them and, create these really vibrant cityscapes. And like, I remember going to Chicago and I got a call from this company that I work with called Turning Art. And they were like, do you have any Chicago cityscapes? And I was like, I'm in Chicago right now.
Oh, wow.
And so I just made a whole series of Chicago, like by just being there, So
that's awesome.
It's just fun. Like I like exercising different ways of, being creative. So I just don't exactly know how to share that with everybody. So I had somebody like kind of help me like understand that it's okay to be doing all of this. And it's all relative. It's all art,
Yes. That's me too. I feel like you're preaching to the choir here because I'm the same way. I've got so many different styles that I've worked on over the years. Yeah. And I feel like there's such a pressure to like pick a style, stick with it, and just keep, regurgitating the same theme over and over again. No.
Because that's what people know you for. And that's what they, it's like, I don't care what people expect from me at all. Like
that's the old gallery system, in my opinion. Yeah. Like that's the old school, like when there's all the gatekeepers back then. Oh, you have to continue to do this, and that might have worked back then. But people are smarter than that. People are aware. They can look at two different things. They can hold two different ideas in their mind at the same time. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think we just have to like, as artists, we have to evolve and respect that like our collectors will, be able to distinguish. And like, I've had people collect, I still have people buy like a portrait that I did from 13 years ago. Like I still have people buy stuff like that. So no, and I want to keep revisiting that too. I do a portrait or pop surrealism from time to time still. And I just want to go with whatever excites me. So yeah, keep doing it. Keep doing it.
Well, that's good to hear because I feel like I can do all the things. I just don't know, like I have trouble sharing all of the things because I don't want it to just feel like, oh, she's just lost her mind. Like
all over the place.
Like, what is she doing right now? Yeah. Like, I decided to do this other thing that has, it's like so completely different. But yeah, I think it's just about like sharing it and going like, oh, this is what I'm into now, for a little while, whatever it is. But
well, and if you don't mind, my friend Alejandro Castañón, he does a lot of different styles too. And he actually creates different Instagram profiles for his different styles.
That's what I was wondering recently.
Yeah. And he does like Etsy shops for his different styles too. And he said it helps him with kind of the SEO of each different style, because if it's all over the map, it's like when it does the whole crawling, Google does its crawling or whatever, all the SEO, it doesn't know how to categorize you. So so he says that helps a lot. And I think that's a cool tip. So, maybe something you want to do. I haven't done that, but maybe something you want to look into. I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting because a lot of companies and that kind of stuff, like the cityscapes and stuff. I did a really cool project for this company in New York, and I digitally designed this collage city vinyl for like 6 floors in an office building. Mm-hmm. And I don't ever share that stuff because it's like, oh, it's a different series of work or whatever.
Right.
So yeah, it might be cool to kind of just check it out and try and do both. But
I think it's fun. Sorry.
It's fun. It's like just keep doing what is exciting or interesting to you,
Yeah, you don't want to lose that passion. You don't want to be like, oh, I got to just do more of this. Sometimes you also just need like a palette cleanser. Like I feel like I'll be doing a style for a while, and then I'm like, oh, I need to do a couple fluid pieces, or I need to do a figurative piece, and then I'm back at it. It's just, we got to keep ourselves excited.
I think that's the digital, like the pop, not the pop art, but the Iconic Women series kind of gives me an outlet of, oh, let me just do this because then I can be done. It's not going to take me, I don't have to do all the techniques and stuff. It's just all digital. So I can just be done with that and just go, whew, all right, all right, back onto this, doing this other thing.
I got that out of my system. Yep.
Yeah, I just kind of get it out. Like the Carrie Fisher one that I just did was like,
oh, that's awesome. I love that piece.
I was like just thinking about it for a while, and then it just felt good just to be like, okay, got that done. Feel good about that.
Yeah, well, and then the Audrey and the Greta Thunberg. I think, am I saying that right?
Thunberg,
sorry. Yeah. I always mess up her name, but I love what she's doing. There's a great documentary out on her in Hulu too. I'm sure you probably know that. And then Audrey, man, we both have done, you gotta look at my website sometime and see one of my old Audrey pieces that I did. I did this big 3 foot by 4 foot kind of pop surrealist, kind of a similar background to what you do actually, Audrey piece. And one of my friends from college bought it. But I love your Audrey piece too. And I love Audrey Hepburn. Do you want to talk about any of that at all? Like what got you interested in these characters?
Yeah, because it took me a while to be okay, I think now to do them, because my focus before, because that was another thing I'm telling you, like last year was just like, it was horrible for a lot of people, but it was also inspiring. I feel like it was inspiring because I started this series last year with the Maya Angelou piece.
Yes.
And
another great piece.
But I originally just was like, I'm never doing pop art. Like I just thought like, I'm never doing pop art. And then for my own personal message was like, I was trying to focus on real people, real women, to celebrate real women. And I was like, that's just what I'm doing. But then I thought I had this like desire to like do this piece, and I was like, well, what does that mean now? You know, and how am I gonna, like, how can I do pop art but just not do traditionally the same things that everybody else is doing, but still have a message behind the work?
Right.
So, because that's really important for me, just to give you something like visually pleasing, but also have a narrative and a message like underlying, you know, beneath it or behind it or whatever. So I realized that I could do that if I was choosing. I talked to some people about it because it wasn't making sense to me. So talked to some people about it, and they're like, you can just choose the people that you want to portray for the reasons that you want. So like, I try and focus, the series is iconic women, and even if it's somebody like Audrey Hepburn, she still has a history. She still has this history of like humanitarianism, and like philanthropy. So
wasn't she one of the first UNICEF?
Oh yeah, she was she was like an ambassador at UNICEF, and she helped so many people. But her story is like really powerful, just too, of how she was in the resistance. Like she would dance and like collect money, get money to like help people that were fighting against the war and stuff like that. So not really because all these documentaries, all these other things that are written up about these people, you can learn so much. And I found that like, I really enjoy that. That's what I do to relax. I watch documentaries on people to relax. Like that's really relaxing.
Me too.
So I was like, let me figure out how to, I was watching, it started when I was watching the Maya Angelou documentary, and it was on her birthday. And I was like, oh, let me watch this for her birthday. And like, I learned so much, and I just started, because you can't do one thing at a time. So I was on the computer, and I started making her portrait while I was watching the documentary and going, oh, I need to grab that. Oh, I need to grab that. Or like, just putting this together. And it was just like a playful thing. And then I realized like, oh, this is really cool. And this is like really inspiring to me. I thought it was a really cool way to show someone's life. So
yes, I
think it's about who we're choosing to maybe celebrate or connect, who you connect to. But I like to stick to like advocates and people that have impacted the world in like a positive way, making change.
I think that's awesome. Yeah. And a lot of the women you've chosen are just perfect for it. And I love these pieces. I love the Maya Angelou. I love the Greta Thunberg. I love the Audrey Hepburn. And what was the last one I'm missing? The one you just did?
I did AOC. I've done Kamala, and I've done Carrie Fisher. Yeah.
Carrie Fisher. Right. You did
that one was really cool. Like learning about because I knew of her. You know, everybody knows like Princess Leia or whatever, but
of course, yeah.
it's like, yeah, come on. So everybody knows her, but and I know some people definitely know her story of struggling with like mental illness, but actually listening to the interviews of her talking about her experience, that was really good for me to hear. So just hearing from that perspective, and then, you know, you're able to kind of maybe have like a different type of empathy towards people that are struggling with mental illness, because sometimes it just comes off in a way that you don't understand, you know?
Of course.
And then just seeing from their perspective. So I just thought it was all of just doing the research on her was really, really powerful.
Did you get to see the documentary on her and her mom, the HBO documentary?
Oh, not yet.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, you get a little bit of a background on their dynamic and how it affected her, you know, growing up having such a famous mother as well.
Yeah. I was reading a little bit about her experiences, like growing up and getting her photographs and everything.
Can you imagine? Man, I can't even imagine.
Terrible.
I always thought when I was young, because I came down here to act and paint. I was like infatuated with acting, and my parents had like a movie theater when I was a kid. So I saw all these movies and I was like, I wanted to be like famous from a very young age. But now, you know, getting older, looking back going, man, I'm so glad that I wasn't. I would probably not be alive today if I had been famous. It's too much.
Different time, you know, like maybe now you could treat it mindfully, you know, like people will be like a little bit more mindful, but, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's I think your brain when you're that young, you just can't process. I think it's hard for adults to process, but just throwing a kid into that, I have a lot of empathy for child stars.
Yeah, I wanted to do on my list of people, I also wanted to do Britney Spears for that reason. So I haven't yet, but it's the fact that grown people, especially when she was coming up, grown people were treating her, like sexualizing her at such a young age. And just that was okay. You know, it's just so strange to think. And then you're like, oh, why is she acting like this? And I remember having conversations with my friends, like, they were looking on her Instagram and they showed me this picture of her like painting or doing whatever. And I'm like, you guys know she's not okay, right?
Right.
And they're like, no, she's just, why is she acting like this? And I'm like, oh, all right. You just don't get it. You don't get it. You don't see the signs. Like,
not having the ability to put yourself in somebody else's shoes too, you know? I mean, I can't even imagine.
It's like add up the pieces, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, this isn't just like, oh, you're just seeing this person from right now. Like, this person has a history. And I think that's what I enjoy about those iconic women collage pieces, because like you kind of see like there's a history of a person and what they've experienced, and there's context to that. But you know, when you see it on TMZ or you see it on whatever, it's like the context is not there. It's all judgment at that point, and it's trashy.
And you did the Notorious RBG, right? Didn't you do that?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I did. Yes. Oh, that's
great too. I love it.
I loved learning about her too. Oh my God, strongest woman there.
She's amazing, and I mean, I wish she was still here today. She held out as long as she could, but she did so many good things for politics and for our country, and for women, obviously. But I wanted to shift a little bit because I know I don't want to like take up your whole day, unless you want to, of course.
Oh no, I can like talk forever. Awesome.
We can talk forever. So I was wondering, because I want to get into NFTs in a minute, but I know you work with a lot of stuff. You work with stencils, collage, digital art, painting, spray paint, illustration. Do you have a favorite, or is it just like what we were talking about, how you like to just go with what inspires you in the moment?
Yeah, right now I've narrowed it down where I'm really focused on this like this abstract and neon situation that I haven't sorted out. So I think that's where I'm at now. But typically I think it's just kind of going with, you know, the excitement of whatever I'm into. Because I used to draw a lot, and that's where these other illustrations came from. But I just haven't, it kind of transitioned into, doing other things. So, but that's not to say like I won't go back and do that. But yeah, I think it's just whatever's exciting at the time or what I'm exploring at the time, or I'm trying to figure out how to convey like a certain message. Oh, what technique or what style might fit that best,
Right.
And then also just like what's for me, like what's cathartic and expressive for me. And right now that seems to be like the free and more immediacy of like the abstract, because all the other styles and techniques they take longer and there's a lot more to the process.
Mm-hmm.
And right now I just feel like I'm in this exploration of color, and so that's just where I want to be.
I love hearing this. I love it. It makes me excited because I did the same thing. Like I was like, so for 13, 14 years, I just did nothing but like portraiture, whether I was pop surrealism or whatever. And I loved it. And I was like getting it all out of my system. And then I just like had this desire to just shift into abstract. It just felt so much more freeing. And I was kind of exploring it with my backgrounds too. It was probably one of the best things I've ever done. And I'd be interested to hear.
I'm loving them. Yeah, I'm looking at your website now. So.
Oh, okay, cool. I'd be interested to hear if you have any people that like push back and are like, well, what happened to your figurative stuff? You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh, I'm sure I'm going to get whatever people want to say, at whatever time, and it's like,
yeah.
Thank you, and
thank you, and this is what I'm doing now. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I've gotten a lot of. I tested it out because I was scared of that. I tested it with doing these abstracts, which I'm creating this series of. It's called Nothing Wasted, and so doing these abstracts, and I sold 2 out of 3 of them.
Nice.
And I just felt like, well, thank you. Like, again, kind of like putting something out there, testing the waters, and then having such like a nice response. And then people just like commenting, oh, I really love these abstracts. I'm like, oh.
Validation right there.
I can do anything. Like whatever, like whatever you're into. I think it's about the energy of like, this is what you're into right now. Other people are going to connect with it because you're putting your authentic energy into it.
I completely agree.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, you're getting validation, like you're getting instant validation that people not only like it, but people are buying it too. And for me, I've gotten a couple of things like where people push back and say like, well, just because I don't know, maybe they have this hang up with the tradition of art and being like, well, I can see, the form and the process in your figurative stuff, but they don't understand abstract as much. So it's kind of like, they don't validate it as important or something in their own mind.
Yeah.
But for me, all of that is baked into my abstract. Like I'm putting just as much emotion, probably more, into my abstract and getting in touch with the present moment. And these things are just flowing through me more than they were when I was doing my figurative stuff. And it's almost like, if you want to talk about digging deep, like I think you can do that at least as much with abstract, maybe even more. So I'm really excited for you, and I'm excited to see this Neon series. That sounds awesome.
Thank you. And I think that I totally agree with what you're saying of like, I put a lot of technical energy into the portraits and like, purposeful, energy, and just, it's kind of like this physical layer of using all these techniques and stuff. And then the abstract is just so much more free flowing of at the moment and
yes,
just that expression, and just like such a genuine, expression of like movement and color and stuff. And it's just 2 totally different ways of creating, I feel like. And I think they're all valid. It's just,
they're all valid.
I literally didn't understand or appreciate abstract as much as I do now. So I think I personally just had to wait until I was ready to embrace it fully for what it is, and I guess need that in my life, and then go, okay, I'm ready to do that.
Yeah. I don't want to keep bringing this back to me, but you're preaching to the choir.
You did all these other things, and I'm this is my life. Like I didn't even know.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's really crazy, but I'm excited
to not being the only one.
Yeah, well, now I've created probably like, I don't know, 400 or 500, no, more than that, 600 abstract pieces. But because, I did for 14 years, I probably did about 300 figurative pieces. But, then this just explosion of painting came out of me. Like I remember painting like 3 or 4 pieces in a day a couple times. And I was like, oh, I love this. But it doesn't, but, it's also, the thing that I love about it for you too, is you know the rules. You know the rules. You're drafting your work. Values. Composition. All this. But now you have the rules, and you can break them with abstract. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people jump into abstract before they even know how to draw. And I'm not saying that's wrong, but I think it's really interesting when a figurative artist makes that transition. It's cool.
Oh my gosh. I'm like even more excited about it now. Okay, I'm like, good. I need to get this undone. So I can show
You're like, we got to stop the podcast, and I gotta
go.
I'm really excited for you. That's awesome. So, well, okay, let's talk about NFTs real quick, because it seems to be like everything that anybody's talking about. I have 2 voices in my brain talking about NFTs. One that's like, go for it, love it. And the other one that's like, well, it's not tested. Is it really going to stand the test of time? And both of those can exist at the same time, I guess. But what's your experience been with NFTs? I know you're on OpenSea. I created an account, but I haven't put up a piece yet. Have you been able to sell? What's your experience been like?
My experience has been very strange. Like, I got introduced to it by 2 of my friends that are in the space, pretty much killing life, like amazingly doing well. And they were in, I think they were just in, my one friend was in it since like 2018 or something like that. So he's been,
he was in early.
Yes, he was just always there.
Is this Vaccine?
And then yeah.
Yeah, I know him from doing some shows at La Luz de Jesus back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Sorry. Anyway.
Oh, good. Yeah, so he's in the space, and my friend Justin from Save Art Space is in there. Saying, like, this is the only reason that I'm gonna be there and see what happens is for a couple reasons. Because they're both traditional artists. They're not doing the motion graphic, post-apocalyptic, whatever, type of art that I have been traditionally seeing, that I'm just not a fan of. It's not for me.
Yeah, me neither.
So there's a lot of stuff in the space at the moment that there's just a lot. There's just a lot there. But it's good to see and have the experience of people that are doing. There's actually another artist, an abstract artist that my gallery represents. I forget his name though. He's doing well too with abstract art. So nice. I'm trying to look towards like the more traditional artists and going, is this gonna work? For more traditional contemporary art than like memes and stuff like that.
Right. So, the digital trading cards.
Yeah, and to each their own of whatever is happening at the moment is not going to be what's happening later. Is so I'm in it because I like you said, like you if it comes off as if I'm like a hustler type mentality, I totally am, but I'm also just very curious. I'm curious about mm-hmm. what the benefits are, what's going to happen later, how it's being developed, what opportunities there are to connect with other artists. So I think in the realm of curiosity, I think it's exciting.
Yeah.
I haven't sold anything yet because I feel like I have to build up this following. And that's what I keep hearing is that like, I didn't have it. I wasn't on Twitter. I wasn't, I was mostly just using Instagram. Mm-hmm. And apparently like the conversations, the community they are on Twitter on
Clubhouse,
Discord. Yeah. And Clubhouse. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I think for me, like, because I wasn't in the space previously, like they're kind of waiting for the boom to happen. I think now if it's flooded with a lot of people and a lot of stuff, but I think it's still valuable because a lot of those things are going to go away and it's going to be the people that are still staying around.
Like maybe like the traditional forms of art might have the staying power.
That's what I personally, I kind of think that of like, what's going to be built upon this kind of platform is interesting, where we can have all our own like virtual galleries you could go to. You could have all of these different things that you can connect with other people. So I think it's kind of more for that. I think it's another way of like how we were talking about community. I think it's another way to build a community of really super creative people.
Yeah.
Even, you know, whatever they're doing, if it's not your thing, you might be able to find a way to connect and work together. So there's even a club called NFT Collab Club, which I'm a part of, that I'm hoping to explore soon, where they all just kind of talk, you know, like they help each other.
Where can you find this?
On Twitter, or I would look on Clubhouse as well. And there's so many, there's just so many people that I think are open to kind of working together, that as an artist, whether you're going to sell or not, I think it's cool to learn something new and learn about other artists and what they're doing. So if you see it as like at that bottom foundation level, and then everything above that is just benefit, you know?
Like maybe don't go into it thinking you're going to be a billionaire right when you get into the scene.
Because I think I went in originally all just like, oh, I'm going to make so much money doing this. And then I was like, no, calm down.
Right.
Let's just explore what it is first and learn about what it is, you know? Yeah. And then in addition to all of that, just because a lot of my stuff is focused on women, I feel like being in this space is necessary for me.
Yeah.
So it's necessary for women to be in spaces like this, taking up space, learning about it, and telling other women about it. So
I completely agree.
That's also part of, you know, not that like, oh, I feel like I have to take that on, because there's already like women of crypto art like started, you know, there are women in this space doing the work and being really supportive. And I just want to be, you know, there for that.
That's cool. I like that. And I think also, even just to take the art out of the equation, whether you believe in NFTs or not, well, I mean, there's a lot of different types of NFTs. I mean, they're selling tickets, concert tickets on NFTs. They're, you know, I like the Dallas Mavericks are making a lot of their money off of NFTs, trading like, you know, posters of NBA stars. But also just the cryptocurrency and blockchain and what can be built off of all of that moving forward. It's kind of like the new internet. So I think it's important for us all to know something about it. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm like, just get educated. And that's what I told like another group of ladies that I talked to, these street artists from New York were on a group, and it's like, just learn about it. You don't have to do it.
Right.
Just learn about it, educate yourself. You want to be on it, do it. If you don't, great. But like, there are things that are going to be happening coming from all of this. So this is just like the beginning, even though it's like, I don't know. I've thought like, oh, it's not the beginning. Like people are like been doing this, you know, like our friends. It's still very new for for what is going to be able to be built and created and all this other stuff. So, and I see companies jumping on it, you know, really trying to figure out like galleries and different companies really trying to work their way into how to be a part of it in whatever form they're going to be doing. So
yeah.
Well, I see the interest. That there's a lot of interest there, and it's just like be there, check it out, but don't stress over. I was stressing over for a minute. Like
I know.
I taught myself. Like I basically had to teach myself everything, just like from listening to all these Clubhouse like video, you know, like chats and stuff. And it was like I did things wrong and all this stuff, and then I was like, I finally figured it out.
Yeah. Well, it's hard not to have anxiety about NFTs because I'm on Clubhouse too, and every art conversation, I don't know if it so much nowadays, but like for a while, it was like they all just devolve into NFT conversations. And
they really do.
So you're like, oh man, I'm not on this. I don't know what this is. You start to freak out about it. But yeah, it's cool. It is still new. I mean,
it's cool, but I would like to go on Clubhouse. Do you do any talks on Clubhouse about like non-NFT?
Yeah, we do. Actually, my friend Alejandra and I and a couple other women, actually, Alex and Bliss, we have the four of us were moderators on a group called The Sustainable Artist, and we do it every Thursday. We're taking a Thursday off, I think, this week, and then we're going to be back on. Yeah, we just talk about all these things about being an artist and making a living as an artist, and kind of like this podcast, but in a group format. So check it out.
Okay, I'm going to look into that because I really need something that's not NFT talk. Like everything on mine is.
We hardly ever talk about NFTs. Some people will come on and try to talk about them, but we kind of
and you're like, shut it down.
Shut it down, lock it down. Yep, exactly. No, but Alejandro actually told me about NFTs a while back, and he has been on there. He does also kind of some iconic work. He sold a print that he, like an art that he created as a print that he converted into an NFT. It was like a Native American themed piece, and he sold that. So I don't know if he's making like, amazing billions of dollars, but he's selling. So that's cool.
Right. Yeah, no, it's good. Whatever it is, it's good because I've been investing in cryptocurrency since 2018. I just wasn't in
nice.
the NFT space. So I've been there for just because like my brothers, got me into it, and I just believe whatever they say, So
that's good.
I
should have done that. I know. I listened to like Tim Ferriss back in the day when they were first talking about it, and I was like, I kind of understand on a surface level, but I was like, I'm not going to invest in this until I know. But I think I missed the boat on a couple of those. And I know it's still changing, but.
Oh yeah. There's so many things. It's cool though. It's exciting and we'll see what happens, but yeah, don't stress over it. And like, I would say listen first. I wasn't in the space of listening first. I was just like doing, I'm like, cause everyone's like, you need to do this right now. I'm like, oh my God. But now, just thinking like, okay, you can just listen. You can be in the space. You can listen. You can learn, and then you can, if you want to, then start.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice, and I think nothing kind of dissuades artists more than having a bunch of people telling them you have to do this, right?
I know.
Yeah.
It's like, really, calm down.
Just leave me alone. Now I'm not doing it. Well, that's cool. No, thanks for sharing that. We're actually going to we're thinking about like Scott Mescal and maybe Paul Rustan, me, and if you would like to join, we're thinking about doing maybe a round table down the road where we talk about NFTs a little bit more. I know we just talked about that. That's all people talk about, but I feel like we have to have one podcast where we cover it, and then we can just get it out of our system and move on.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, there's just a lot going on there, and so many people doing like really cool things. It's sometimes, to me, it feels like you have to find, for my personal taste, I have to go find what people are doing that's like interesting to me, which I wish it wasn't so hard to find those things. I think.
I know. Sorry. I keep jumping in over you, but it's just, you're making me excited about these topics.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, because we both kind of have the little bit of the hustler art business mentality. What are you focusing on? I mean, I know we just talked about NFTs, but what's something that you have a goal to focus on as far as, bringing your art to the next level, maybe, monetizing? Is there anything you're working on right now that has that in mind?
Good question. I think focusing on the website marketing tools, I think is going to be really necessary for me, because I'll just make the work and then no one will see it. Right. So I think for like business mentality is really just trying to have that balance, because I have a show in September that I have to get ready for. It's a show up with this gallery called Gallery 1202, which she sells a lot of my work. And she gave
Where is it?
It's in Gilroy, actually, up north.
Okay.
But she goes to she's taking my work to the Affordable Art Fair.
Oh, cool.
I think it's the end of this month or something like that.
Is that the one in New York?
Yes.
Yeah. Nice.
She has like a wide reach with her fairs that she does as well, and online on like Artsy and all these platforms and stuff. Mm-hmm. So that's super cool. And I really want to make an environmentally focused show, which like came from the work that I was doing with the abstract series, Nothing Wasted, where just kind of thinking about all this stuff that you use like during the day, and like focusing on plastics kind of more so, like plastics and papers and like scrappy stuff. And
cool. I love it.
Yeah, just kind of focusing on that. So like I'm the abstract with the neon, and then, you know, this other series, like kind of focusing on that. But I also need to understand that, you know, not every, my goal is to just sell directly to people, like on my website or things like that, where I'm like more in control of it.
Yes. I think that's one of the number one questions we get on that group that we were talking about is, you know, what do you need to do to sell work? And I think the first thing that we always say, the first answer is get your own website where you have control, where you can drive traffic and sell your work and cut out the middleman, right? Because that's something that they can never take away from you. All these social media platforms can go away. NFTs can even go away, you know?
Oh yeah. Did you see, like, even, I was going to bring it up, but I didn't, it's kind of a bummer, but Facebook is basically saying, like, if you don't update and give us all your privacy information, then we're going to start charging you.
Oh my God.
So we all have to now look out for this kind of stuff.
Are you kidding me? I was afraid of this.
So what if, you know, Facebook, Instagram goes away, then what are you left with, you know, for like marketing yourself or selling to people, you know, selling. It's like you need a mailing list and you need your website. And so we really have, that's what I'm really focusing on, is I'm really trying to transition onto Twitter and, you know, through these other, you know, they're NFT related, but they're also, you know, now they're like flooded with more art conversations and things like that.
Yeah.
Which I think are cool. So yeah, like just kind of like just understanding, anything, this could all go away, and it's about your relationships, and it's about having something of your own.
Yes, having some control. Yeah. By the way, that's scary. I didn't know it. Thank you for telling me.
Check it. Yeah, check it. I'm checking on it, and it's just not.
Well, because they have so much control. Why wouldn't they try to monetize it? You know, they're like, well, people are dependent on this now, so let's start charging them. Oh my God.
And scary. I think hopefully it's going to be, you know, where I think, I don't know if it was them, I don't know if it was Facebook or somebody else tried to do something similar, and everybody just kind of revolted. They were like, absolutely not. Like, we're not accepting this.
Well, that's what needs to happen. Yeah.
But when it comes to something in terms of like your privacy or something that you're agreeing to that you may not understand that you're agreeing to, I think they're trying to be a little bit tricky and sneaky.
Well, and this is the wrong time to do that, because people are starting to have more awareness of that, like the, you know, the Social Dilemma documentary that came out, and all these. I mean, people are just starting to become, you know, having more conversations about this. So,
I canceled after they, you know, sold my information to, you know, that company or whatever, and like the big trouble, like 3 or 4 years ago, I had canceled. I deleted everything. I deleted my Facebook account, and then wound up, you know, getting it back because I was like, oh, I want to have shoppable things on my Instagram, you know?
Like, I know.
Why?
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back.
I know. And then I had to like build it, you know, I had to like build it again. And I was like, I'm not looking forward to doing that. I don't want to, but
it sucks that it's a necessary evil.
And even on just, you know, because if we're talking about NFTs, there's they have created, not they, but blockchain related technology is also exploring something called BitClout, which is a social media platform where you can sell your coins and you can have investors buy into you, basically, by buying your coins. And it's kind of it's like Patreon and Instagram. You know, like if you were to combine those two things, it's like a social media backing investor thing. So you could buy the coins of the people that you like because you support them, you support their work and all of that stuff. And when they grow, you grow, basically. You know what I mean? Like your investment is growing. Instead of buying your work and hoping the value instead of buying like a physical piece of art, for, you know, say I buy it for $500, and then 5 years later you're selling that for, you know, $2,000 or whatever. It's like, instead of me having to then sell that piece of work to make like a value, like make money off of, you know, like how much you're at now, it's just like a coin. it's like, oh, my coin's valued at like $100 or whatever.
Oh,
but
so you go
later,
up over time. Like your value goes up over time.
my
Gotcha.
value, like my coin value, then it can be $300 next week or whatever.
Oh,
and you're like, oh shoot, I'm really glad that I backed this person by investing in her. We're raising the value, and then you can decide to keep it or you can sell it. You know what I mean?
That's cool.
Like, and then back somebody else, you know, whatever. But
I like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's really interesting. Like, so
What was the name of it one more time?
Oh, I can send it to you. It's called BIT Clout.
BitClout. Okay.
OUT.com. It's just, again, another thing that's just like in the very beginning that artists are starting to like get, you know, involved in. And then it's a really cool way to, just see. It's kind of like the NFT situation, but you can just buy like coins instead of buying like an NFT, I guess.
I think that's really cool. I'm going to look into that, and I had never heard of it before, so a lot of people are going to get like, value out of hearing about this. That's awesome.
You know, I'm telling you, it's just like all this stuff. Like when you're curious, you'll find everything.
Well, that's one of the cool things about being an artist too, is you get to continue that level of curiosity throughout your life. I think that's what keeps us going, keeps us alive. I always am fascinated by the artists that I've always loved throughout time. They always end up painting into their 90s, or, you know, it's because they're always interested in something, I swear. So that's cool. I wanted to ask you just a couple questions that I ask everybody near the end, which is, I always ask like what your superpower is. Like, what do you do when you are feeling, I hate to say blocked, but like maybe you're not in the creative mindset? Is there anything like a go-to that you have to kind of get you back into the creative mindset, get you creating?
Oh, that's a good one. I do battle with like depression and anxiety, and I try and just like let that be, you know, if that's what I'm feeling at the time, then I just have to kind of go through that, you know, that journey or whatever. And sometimes I can't really, you can't really get out of it, but I tend to go outside, go for walks. It's good being in nature if that's possible, you know.
Yes.
And then watching documentaries, because I feel like sometimes they'll just spark some kind of station or person or thought of something. Like I just like watching some documentaries, and then sometimes that's drawing, cool. Like with no purpose.
Yeah. Like getting the mechanics going.
Yeah. Or just doodling or something that's not where I'm like, oh, this needs to be something.
Right.
No,
right.
It doesn't have to be anything. It just be some lines. Like, it's fine.
Yeah. Just take a little bit of the pressure away.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that.
Helps.
I like that. Yeah. A lot of people talk about walking too. I think I do that also. It's very important.
I try and practice when I'm walking. If I'm walking for that purpose of just like clearing my mind or trying to like get over something, I try and walk and then do that trick of just trying to be present and forget that things have names.
Yes.
So you just kind of look at stuff with like a new light of like, oh, what is that? You know?
Without labeling it.
Yeah, without labeling it, and just kind of like being there and looking at things in a new way. Trying to anyway.
Are you an Eckhart Tolle fan?
Yeah, that's what he said to do.
Oh, that's so great. That reminded me, because I love Eckhart Tolle, and it's funny because I see my parents. My parents love nature, so I don't want to take that away from them. But they're very obsessed with labeling stuff. Like, oh, this tree is this, or this bird is this kind of bird, or this is a flower. You know, and for me, I'm just like, well, just step back and appreciate it for its intrinsic.
Yeah,
I love that about Eckhart. That's cool.
But that was like he did this podcast with Oprah. And they went through the whole entire book. Yeah.
Oh my God. So, A New Earth.
Also, when I'm stuck, I will go back to that exact podcast about the new A New Earth, and it'll be usually whatever I'm stuck on. It'll connect to that, whatever that is, and then go, oh,
that's
okay,
right.
Let me try that. You know?
Yes. I find that a lot of his words kind of ground me a little bit if I'm too far, because I have a lot of anxiety too. I have sometimes really bad social anxiety, and just anxiety in general. Like, I have a fear that comes from nowhere, and all of a sudden it's just debilitating. And he's helped me to kind of step back and just witness it. So now I'm like aware that it's happening. I might not be able to change it right then in the moment, but I can take a little bit of the power away from it by knowing, okay, I'm watching this happen. It's not going to kill me.
Mm-hmm.
Just let it kind of happen and pass through my body. I'm sorry you struggle with that because it's horrible. But
yeah, I wouldn't go to shows because of it. Yeah. I realized, later when, starting to listen to him and listen to some other things, you're right. It's like, I didn't know what it was, but I would just not want to go. Mm-hmm. And I would have art out. I would be in like group shows and I'd be like, oh, but then I have to go and do all of this. And
I have to talk to people.
Yeah, I would just like close off, I convinced myself for a while that it's like, oh, my art will just speak for itself. I don't have to be there.
Right.
And like, that was like my excuse because of my social anxiety. But,
oh yeah. I've done that too. Yep.
Yeah. So, but I'm telling you, another thing post, this COVID pandemic, I'm over it.
Oh, that's great.
I think it's like, hopefully we'll see, because I haven't gone to anything, but yeah, I'm hoping that gets me past it.
I'm
just
so
excited
to
see people, like, oh, I'm excited to go and see what people are up to.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm kind of like split. I have moments where I'm like that, and then I have times where my anxiety has gotten worse at the pandemic. Yeah. So I'm struggling with that right now, but talking to people, like doing the podcast, doing shows is all very helpful. Well, yeah. Let me ask you, I'm going to ask you two more questions.
Okay.
One is, do you have any advice for young Amy, any age, something that you've learned in your life that you'd like to pass on to your younger self?
This might sound weird, but probably take antidepressants earlier than I did.
Oh, yeah.
That probably would have helped me a lot.
Right. No, that's not weird at all.
Because, I was stuck in such a bad place for a long time. And, just didn't know why. And as soon as I got it kind of sorted out, it was just like, oh, this isn't so bad,
Right.
But, and then maybe like get a therapist earlier.
Yeah. And, do you think that you missed out on a lot of stuff?
I mean, I think everything happens in the way that it's supposed to happen, and there's nothing really to change,
Right.
But yeah, I think those things mentally would have probably helped me, and then I probably would have started being creative earlier, mm-hmm. and like believing in, I would have loved to, tell young Amy that like art is necessary and to follow that, because I think maybe I would have explored, because I was in New Jersey, I could have, I probably could have explored more Philly and more of the New York art scenes, or, something like that, if I really even thought it was possible.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. I love that you're doing that with your work now too. You're kind of inspiring other people and empowering, women and hopefully younger women. And so you're kind of passing that message on, which I think is great. I don't know if that's one of your messages. No, I know you have a lot of messages, but
that's definitely purposeful. And I thought about it, I realized that that's what I was doing. Mm-hmm. It didn't really start out that way, but I realized that that's what I was doing because of that, because I didn't feel like I had any kind of belief, like that push or anything. Mm-hmm. So, and I know now how important it is. So with that, I just want to make sure that other people know that. And if they need help, if they want help, or if they have questions, or they, whatever it is, I want to be pushing them in the right direction of just support. I'm not going to, I don't have talent for you. You have what you have, and explore that. And you are supported in choosing that.
I love that. Thank you for doing that. That's actually one of the reasons why I started the podcast, was because I kind of wanted to give people something that I didn't have. When I was starting out, I felt so lost. I felt like, how do I do this? How do I do the business of art? How do I put myself out there? And, I'm not saying this is, completely, I hope it's helping people, but that was that was kind of the impetus for doing this too. So thank you for doing that with your work. I think I'm
glad that you have this, because I feel like I can just go on and listen to like friends talking, instead of like, exactly. This like straightforward, like whatever it is. It's like fun, it's entertaining, and it's just like casual, but you're also going to like learn something.
Yes. Well, thank you. I'm glad you feel that way, and I hope other people do too. But thank you so much for doing that in your work. I'm inspired by your work. I really feel, I kind of feel attached to your work because I feel like there's so many kind of similar things and themes and evolution in your work, and I'm really excited to see where you go next. So I wanted to ask you, is there anything that you wanted to talk about that I maybe left out before we go? And then also, maybe first we'll get this out of the way. How do people find you online and on the evil interwebs? We just
well, so we're just like, oh, just go to my website. My website's amysmith.art. That's me, and that's my art storefront's website, and it's beautiful. Yeah, so I have everything there, and then my Instagram, which I really enjoy using at the moment, is Amy Smith Arts.
Yes.
And I have Facebook, but I'm not on it that often. So I would just, and then if people are on Twitter because of, what's happening now.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to enjoy that. It's Amy Smith Artist 1. And that's me there.
Awesome. So, I'm gonna follow you if I'm not already. I've been trying to get myself to do Twitter more, but it was one of those things that I wasn't really into it. But I know it's becoming really relevant now too. I mean, it's always been.
There's a lot of there's a lot of support there. It feels like, and I'm just gonna go. We've never seen this before. I feel like the community's really coming together and supporting artists of all levels.
Yes.
Of all levels. It's not just me trying to track down this really, established person and going oh, please,
you're not trying to get Banksy to talk to you or something.
Yeah, it's not like that. It's everyone's what do you need? What do you want to know? I'm here. I'm here for it.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm really enjoying that part because honestly, this whole Twitter thing, especially last year, I was I am never going on Twitter. Because I know I'll just get sucked into, all these terrible things. So politics, I just never, I wasn't into it. I didn't do that or Facebook because I just didn't want to hear anything.
Yeah.
So,
same.
I just focused on Instagram, but now it's what you find. I think it's what you're looking for, and it's going to be what you find. So I'm looking for community on Twitter, and it's there.
I love it.
Yeah, maybe that's the last thing that I would mention is just be where the community is,
Yes. Well, and also what you said there too is, what you put out there, kind of you get back. If you're going out there to look up a bunch of bullshit politics, that's what you're going to get sucked into.
Yeah, don't be surprised if your algorithm starts giving you what it's right. My algorithm gives me sunshine and rainbows, you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's I look for certain things and that's what I'm going to get back. And that's
so true. I love it. Well, is there anything you felt like we didn't talk about that you want to share, or something coming up that people should know about, or do you feel good about where we are?
Well, yeah, the only thing I'm doing, coming up is going to be this this mural for this school.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I guess I have to get ready for some shows and stuff.
Yeah, actual in-person shows.
Yeah, I'm still not there yet, but I hope it gets it, because there was a show I went, I'm not going to say where, I don't even know, but I went and people it was indoors. I went inside and people were drinking, all their masks were off, and I just left. I was
wow, really?
Yeah, I walked around, took 2 pictures, and then left.
Oh my God.
I can't be here.
Yeah.
But it was a couple of weeks ago, and then it was before I was vaccinated too. So
right. Yeah, because some people were just we're done. We're good.
Yeah, and I'm I don't know. I didn't realize people might already be or whatever. So I was just all right, nice work.
Yeah.
So
no, I think that's smart. Wait a little bit longer. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, still waiting on what's going to happen with, all the shows and stuff. But I'm excited just to even talk to you and talk to people and just continue if we're not, able to see each other. But I do the Melrose Market on Sundays, which I forgot to mention.
What's that? I'm ashamed to say I don't know what
Oh,
that is.
you need to come visit. So Melrose and Fairfax at the high school. You've been here forever.
Yeah, I know.
They have their it's like a flea market,
Right.
but it's like a nice, it's really nice. And so I'm there with a fine art publisher who prints all my limited editions, Moby Arts,
Cool.
and it's another female-owned business. So we pop up there and do a little pop-up gallery every Sunday. I'm doing every other Sunday. I'll be there this Sunday, the 9th or whatever, because I was doing every Sunday and just I need to get stuff done.
Yeah.
And I have all these commissions that I need to do, and I used to like work while I was there, but now it's just getting too much. So, but yeah, it's a
It's a good problem to
beautiful
have, though.
outdoor. Oh yeah, I'm really grateful for all of it. But it's a beautiful outdoor experience with everyone wearing masks. You're not allowed in without wearing a mask, getting your temperature checked.
Yeah.
And so all the vendors inside, everyone keeps their distance. They distance the booths out, more so people feel comfortable walking around. For a while, it was like limited capacity, so it wasn't overcrowded. But it's been opening more since everything else has been opening, and it's really great. They have food trucks. They have all these different vendors, and they have a couple of artists. It's not really like full of art, but there's like a handful of us.
Cool. Yeah, maybe that's why I didn't know about it, but they do kind of everything and art.
Yeah, they have like clothes, jewelry, skincare,
Oh, that's so cool.
like yeah, everything. It's kind of like like a smaller like Rose Bowl flea market
Yeah.
where they have, they do that. But yeah, this is every Sunday, and then tickets
Cool.
are $5 donation because it's run by a nonprofit,
Mhm.
and all that money goes back to the Fairfax High School.
Oh, nice. So
Yeah,
you
so it's
win
kind of
from all
that's who
angles.
started it. Yeah,
That's great.
so
I mean, yeah,
yeah,
my wife and I, once things settle down, yeah, we'll check it out. It sounds awesome.
yeah, come by. People just usually like either they come looking for something or they just come to kind of get out and walk around
Yeah.
outside and see some stuff,
Mhm.
which both are great because it's outdoorsy and it's usually a beautiful day. So check it out. It's Melrose Trading Post, it's called.
Cool. Okay, well, see, I'm learning. I've already learned,
Yeah.
like, 3 new things, so
Yeah, I'm gonna take notes. I'm gonna re-listen to this.
Exactly.
Take notes.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thanks for sharing all that. Well,
Yeah.
awesome. It's been really fun talking to you. We've kind of sort of talked a bit in some shows, like some Zoom stuff, but not really this much at all. So it's been really cool getting to know
No.
you. And hey,
Same.
you're a Valley person, so one of these days we should do a little
Oh.
studio swap visit or something.
Oh my gosh, I'm very excited for that because I really did think you were like way far.
Yeah, no,
So
I'm here in the
this is
Valley.
great. Yep, this is great. We have to do that definitely. Sounds
Okay,
good.
cool. Awesome. And then, yeah, and if in any other time, maybe we'll do it round two down the road. Thank you so much for sharing everything with
Definitely.
us.
Well, thank you. Thank you for putting this together and continuing, even through your back and everything. Like continuing to do this, I thought was really great because you're dedicated, and I love that.
Yeah, it's keeping me going. So I'm happy I'm doing it. But thanks. That means a lot. So I will. So wait, what's the next show? It's in Gilroy. Is that what you said?
Oh, the next
I'm trying to think where I
show.
can see
I
your. I guess I could see
I
your
guess so.
murals.
I would say go on a street art tour, check out some murals in West
Yes.
Hollywood. I have like 3 right now,
Okay.
all within 3 or 4, something like that. I was gonna do like my own, I did one. I want to do my own like street art tour, like live, like Instagram live or something at some point.
Yeah,
But yeah, just go like talk in front of the murals or something. So
that would be
I
cool.
might, yeah, I might do that. I just have to schedule it. So,
And you
um,
can do it on YouTube too. Are you doing? Are you? I should have asked you this earlier, but are you
oh,
focusing on YouTube that much?
I have, some videos on YouTube, and I'm so torn because I'm like, I definitely do want to like put some more stuff up. I'm just not that consistent, but I'm hoping this
Yeah.
assistant, if I just filter her some stuff, she can, populate where it needs to go, you know?
Yes. That's been my goal too. I need somebody to handle some of the business, because like between, you know, doing all this, the podcast, creating work, shipping work, all this, it's just like, man, how do people do this?
Yeah.
You know? So,
yeah. My friend just hired like an actual physical real life assistant, and I'm still just trying to get my digital, you know, stuff in order. So I'm like,
baby steps. We'll both get there.
Baby steps. We're doing it.
We're doing it, and it's another good problem to have. Where if it warrants us needing one, then we must be doing something right.
Yes, I'm like, please bring all the challenges on. I'm ready.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Yeah. Well, thanks again for coming on. We'll hope to see you in person soon.
Yes, same. Hope to see you soon.
Take care, Amy.
Bye.
Bye.
This has been the Living Artist Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I just want you to know that I appreciate you being here, and I'm grateful to be in your ears. Your art and creative life on this planet is meaningful, so thank you for sharing it with me. If you like this podcast, whatever platform you're listening to it on, please subscribe and share it with your friends. You can also leave me a positive review to show your support. This helps me to reach more people with the algorithmic magic and keep the show going strong. If you want to see more of what I do and check out the art that I create, you can visit my website at www.pmsartwork.com or follow me on social media everywhere at PMS Artwork. That's it for now. See you back here next time.